Saturday morning, first day of the Christmas holidays. School year ended up yesterday. It's kind of busy for me and one or two others anyway, who were trying to do all sorts of stuff in preparation for the next year for the whole school, like head teacher admin trying to finalise all the casual and temporary pays. One of the guys in my staff room who's kind of taken a leadership role on the CART team, which is the assessment and reporting team, he's trying to finalise the assessment booklets that the kids will get at the start of next year. And myself, of course, trying to make sure the timetable and class lists are finalised. Very last thing Thursday, I made sure that I had all of the class lists to be able to send out to all the staff, so that they could kind of prepare themselves over the break for who they might have in their classrooms, especially electives. Some teachers may not have been in the process for setting up class lists, or there might have been minor changes that they didn't know about, Year 8 electives, all that sort of stuff. I think I had 2 incredibly minor tweaks to the timetable where head teacher welfare needed to be added to 2 meetings, and one of them clashed with a class, but she was able to end up sharing that class off with another person in their staff room who was already sharing that class with them and was under load, and available, so that was good. The other one was the SRC coordinator. I had somehow bopped them off their own meeting with the deputy, which was easy enough to put back on, but then they also asked if they could have the SRC roll call moved to their classroom rather than a computer room across the corridor. Required me moving the other roll call from their room into another empty room in that section of the building. I didn't really print out another set of timetables to send out. Not sure if I mentioned, we had a bit of confusion around who was creating the Year 7 class lists, because normally it's our land faculty, because they have information from the primary schools on which kids would be better not being with which kids if they come from the same primary school. And the office hadn't sent me anything until like the start of the week, the Monday arvo. I contacted the land faculty. They said that the job seemed to have been taken off them by senior exec, but they would follow up and check on that. And when they checked on that, that wasn't the case. They still needed to do it. They said, "When do you need that by?" This was on Thursday. I said, "Today," because I did not want to be being given it on the last day, and then having me miss out on any farewell speeches and that sort of stuff at the lunch, because that always happens. I'm always running back and doing class list stuff at the end. So they got that fixed. I ended up getting all of the Year 7s into all of their classes. I created the class list for STEM and Kappa, and it was completely randomised. So if it turns out some of those kids who aren't meant to be together are together, we will do some shuffles. But the last thing I did Thursday before leaving was export all of those class lists into Excel and sent them out as I saved them on a OneDrive and sent them out as a link to everybody, so they could get their own class list if they wanted to get mark books or whatever ready, and that prep. So yesterday, the final thing I wanted to do before leaving was to get next year's timetable file onto the server and synchronized with our other systems, set up the calendar that goes with that, so that like our roll marking system knows which week it is and what classes are when. And that way the head teacher admin can put or can process any training and development things that need to go into the calendar ahead of time, right at the very start of the year. That was kind of the last thing I did. The cleaners at our school usually do split shifts. They work in the morning, they work in the afternoon. But on the last day of school, or the last day of terms, they often do what's called a straight shift, where they just come in the morning and they just do all sorts of cleaning, and they don't come back in until the following week or whatever, which means that you can't just leave school. You've got to leave and lock up and everything, and then the principal's got to set all the alarms and stuff. And he didn't want to hang around, so he asked everybody to be out of the school by 2:30 so he could go around and lock up by 3:30. So I got chased out. He left our block's alarm turned off because our vet coordinator who did the catering was still cleaning up in the kitchen. And he said, look, I'll give you a code to turn on the alarm at the end of the day. I'll leave the gym and your block switched off. And there's a alarm panel in the gym building. He'd already turned the trade school on. We accidentally set that alarm off. And my code wasn't working, so I've got to get that sorted for next year. But she told me, like, when she was ready to go, which was about 3:30, and she goes, let's just get everything out to the car and we can turn on the alarms. And she goes, do you know where the panel is in the gym? Because that's where he said it was, but I don't know where it is. And do you know the process? Because he gave me the code, but I don't know how to do it. And I went, yep. So I walked down with her, and she said, I'll have to tell him it was a good thing you were still around, because while he gave her a code to use, she didn't have a key for the alarm box, which I do. So that's how the term wrapped up. 1 year done and dusted, a whole set of new challenges next year. It's meant to get pretty warm today too, which is why we're walking this morning, because even if it does cool down later, the road will be hot. Meant for a top of 31 degrees Celsius, 89 Fahrenheit, which isn't supremely hot, but it's hot enough. Currently, like, it's 8:30 this morning. It's about 20 degrees, so 68, I think. And it's going to warm up pretty quickly after 9 o'clock. We'll try and get more walks in. As my wife said, Batman will like it. We need to get rid of his belly. I need to get rid of my belly. Gentle exercise is good for everybody. Monday morning, bit after 9. My aim is to try and do my walks with Batman in the mornings for 2 reasons, so I don't get caught up with what I'm doing and forget or miss the walk, and so that it's not so hot. Somebody's left out some stuff. We don't need Jay, but I'd like that. Yes, thank you. I've always wanted a small art easel, and I always seem to come across large ones. I used to have a really big drawing easel that would take like 8 A2 pages. Ended up selling that. And then I designed some easels years ago for the Kappa faculty. And I kept the prototype, but it's currently sitting at school because it takes a large footprint too. Because it's meant to be a stand-up easel. But this will be good. So, yes, what was I saying? Morning walks. The other reason I want to try and do walks in the mornings is because it does get very hot in the afternoon. And even if you did wait until it had cooled down, my wife made a really good point that the road or the blacktop is still going to be hot from all that heat that's soaked in all day. My reason for going barefoot today is just to judge the temperature in the road, because if I can't handle it, I don't want his feet being burnt. Now, so far, wherever there is shade, the road's cool. But when you get into the sun area, it's already warming up a little bit. I took him for a walk yesterday afternoon after it had cooled down, but my wife said the road was probably hot, and I went out and checked, and it wasn't hot, but being on it for a long time would probably be uncomfortable. So at the moment, it's starting to warm up. Now today's also meant to be, well, I won't say it's meant to be, it is. Today is a total fire ban. I got a message through from the CFU unit. It's only meant to get to a top of 24 today, which is about 75, 76 Fahrenheit. But we're meant to get gusty winds, which is why it's a total fire ban. And because yesterday got quite warm in the afternoon, even though it had rained overnight, it was raining, it's still raining a little in the morning, that would have dried stuff out a bit. So I'm going to try and mow the backyard today. It won't be too hot, because it did get really hot yesterday. The road is quite comfortable on my feet, and his feet are going to be tougher than mine. So I think this is a good way to gauge it. And walking on our blacktop is not difficult in bare feet. It's not like walking out on that dirt road. We don't have a really rough blacktop like I remember as a kid where I grew up. Not a very long walk this morning. I think walking every day is going to start to tire him out, but he was already walking slower and saying, yeah, I don't want to walk too far today, Dad. So we just did a little lap. He met a nice little, looked like a little poodle or Maltese pup. Some ladies were walking, and he made one bark, and then when we got closer he just wagged his tail, and they both said hello and sat down quite calmly as we had a chat. With the last couple of warm days, this was getting low, and I cleaned it out a little bit yesterday, but when I got back from the shops today, I just put the hose in here and put it on low to try and top it up, and I completely forgot about it until I was down in the laundry and I heard a little whistling noise and like pipes, and I'm going, what is that? I ran up the front. Just started to overflow. Yeah, only just. I just started to flood here. But that little thing right in the middle is a teeny tiny frog that I saw swimming across this bit of water. all of these ponds, sort of join together here, and after I did the little concrete lip, it feels a little low just there, so there's probably been a little overflow there, but I just put it in here, so it would fill up this, then flow around and fill up this, which flows down here, fills up this, and obviously if you leave it on long enough, it backs right up to here. But just, I think there, the concrete that I put there just gets a little low there, that's why it spills over. Anyway, they'll be okay.